again. We know this is what we're meant to do. So we wake up, put our feet on the floor, go and conquer the day like a warrior, like warriors. Cause that's what a trap does. We got your back so you can relax and focus on all the important stuff, like getting your business done. This is what we're meant to do. This is our tribe. We look out for each other. That's right, that's right. This is our tribe. We help each other grow in business and life. That's right, that's right. No need to panic anymore. We got lots of support and an army of warriors by our side. We fight the good fight when we unite. We fight the good fight when we unite. Cause that's what a tribe does. We got your back so you can relax and focus on all the important stuff, like getting your business done. This is our tribe. We look out for each other. That's right, that's right. This is our tribe. We help each other grow in business and life. That's
Let me start that again. Hi, my name is Sondra Ray, and I have the privilege to host the Coffee Shop Show. I forgot I actually muted myself for once while the song was playing. I usually don't for that reason. Anyways, good evening, Mr. Peter. How are you today?
Doing very well. It's actually very strange to be rushed and then all of a sudden to be very still. You feel like you're missing something. I
Right.
was
I like all the buttons, all the
yeah,
screens, and then I'm like, right, the chaos, the frenzy beforehand. Um, and I am getting better at getting here almost 10 minutes early, so I don't feel as rushed. I am getting better at doing that because then I don't feel as rushed because yeah, all the things and the phones and the pings and is all the notifications turned off and did I answer everybody?
Oh,
So yeah, so good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. We are an international group, so we definitely want to make sure we recognize that. The Coffee Shop Show is about entrepreneurship as you grow your business wherever, whatever, however, all the evers that entails. Because I had somebody the other day ask me, well, what is the show about? So I want to mention that. So today we are talking about business plans. And I will be quite honest, this is not something that I was super knowledgeable about and I'm still learning about, even though I've been an entrepreneur for 5 years. So this was something I came into play later. I would advise don't do that way. Do it the opposite, start it from the beginning. But your business plan is not something that you set it and you forget it. Your business plan is a living document and it should be reviewed. And of course, you know me, review it, review. Quarterly would be great. It's going to take you a lot less time if you review it quarterly versus 6 months or a year. You can tweak it quarterly and take 5 minutes versus hours or, days if you do it at a year mark or a 6 month mark. So definitely, I know, Peter, you have helped people write business plans. I know you've written articles about this. So what are your thoughts on, yeah, and in general, like, okay, let's start with this. Why should you have a business plan? Let's start with that.
okay. Well, first of all, I want to make something commonly known is that my business plan will not work for you, and your business plan will not work for me. Your business plan is something that is customized to your space. And this is why I love this space because, the topics are specifically designed to line up that it guides you through this journey. And that's a journey we've been on. And Sondra, you'll know some of the topics from beforehand, goal setting and overviewing your space, looking at where you're at, what you've got, what you don't have. there is nothing in your business that doesn't affect something else. You change something, it affects everything. And you have to know what it affects, how it affects it, what changes do you need to put in place. Um, if you have or are in the process of building out or documenting your business plan, you might want to go back to some of the topics that we've had just before this, I think since the beginning of this year, and go take a look at what those topics are and what's required and what can you do in those spaces, because all of those are going to affect what you build and how you build it. And I think speaking very generally, because I cannot sit here and go, this is how to build a business plan, and this is the one that works for everyone. Because nothing works for everyone. It's going to have differences. It's going to have changes. It's going to suit your space. It's going to suit your needs. It's going to suit how your workflow processes function. Everything, every single thing is going to affect what you build in this space. Then the question is, why? Why have a business plan? Well, I think if we had to revert back to some of the sayings, I think it was a saying from Mr. Levy, you know, you got to know where you're going to and where you're at. In a nutshell, I know he doesn't word it like that, but if you want a sense of direction, you got to know where you're currently at and where you're going to. Otherwise, you're just going, but you're not going in the right direction. So, and I think a business plan it's establishing a baseline for everything else to function from. So if your business is in a space where it requires a plan to get from point A to point B, you've got to have everything in place before you can create that plan. So I think it's very different. You can't just go and build yourself a business plan and then go and decide what you have and what you don't. I think you need to do it the way that we've actually done it, which is really smart, especially from your side, Sondra, because you laid out the topics, and I think you saw this coming, was why would you build out a business plan if you don't know yet what your business consists of, what you have, what you don't have, what you need, what you require, what direction you want to go in. You don't go build a business plan and then decide on a direction afterwards. That makes absolutely no sense. So I think all the topics before this have literally been perfect preparation. So if you want to know how to build out a business plan, go backwards in the topics.
For sure, for sure. And today we're only going to cover like how to get started. We're going to break it down because I know last year that was something when we covered business plan, we like went really fast over it. And what I learned, because I was in a class last year for entrepreneurship, and I know you guys teach a whole program about entrepreneurship, it's not that it isn't really that simple. Like, okay, you're gonna write a business plan in the day. Like it's not very common that you're gonna sit down and unless you have just all your pieces together to write it all in one spot. The class I took, we took it over a whole month. Like it was a 4-week process and I still wasn't done with mine. So I mean it is definitely and I think I like what you said there is definitely outlines out there, forms you can fill out to help you. But also I think the best thing I did was research. Well, we had access to a library research some that were written in your industry. They're not going to be the exact same.
No.
But like I did life coaching as an industry because that sort of kind of fits me, kind of, sort of, but it was the closest thing that was going to fit to what I'm doing. And I used that it really helped because it took some of the guessing out of it, especially like the market analysis and some of those things that you have in your business plan usually. It could take hours to do all that. And I'm like, oh, they went to this type of website and they got this type of information and it took me 20 minutes versus I had already Googled it for like 2 hours and got nowhere. So it did give me a framework to work off of and some resources because they'd already done their work. And so I was like, okay, let me take advantage of the work that's already been done by somebody else. Don't rethink the wheel, you guys. There's multiple people that has probably done something super similar to you. No, it will not be exact, but there's no, especially with the tools we have today, don't think you have to start from square one and build it from there. Use those resources, use those things that people have already built out. Look at a traditional one and be like, okay, these are the pieces that I want. And that's actually what I did. I did not pick a full traditional one. I picked one that I felt met the needs I wanted for my business plan. And that's the other caveat. What are you using your business plan for? Is it just for your business? Are you using it for funding? Are you using it for grants? Those all have to be tailored towards that exact thing. Ours was taught from a traditional looking for funding. Not that I shouldn't go look for funding. My original business plan, I did not want it to be necessarily to go look for funding. A lot of times, a lot of people don't write it until they go look for funding, whether it's grants, loans, or whatever, or investors. But I was writing mine just to actually have a starting point. So why you're writing it is important too. Like, what are you going to use it for? Are you using it just for your business, your SOPs, like just for you? Or are you looking to use it for outside people to look at, outside resources, so on and so forth? Because you are going to tailor it a little bit differently. I'm not super worried about forecasting and things like that, which are important, but at the moment it wasn't my focus. It was more of a focus of let's get a basic business plan done, and then I can build it out from there. And again, you're going to keep changing it. Like we said, it's a breathing document. So keep in mind why you're building it, because that matters. It really does. Like what you're going to give a bank and what you're going to give an investor and what you're going to give a grant writer or a grant person. They all want one. I'm gonna tell you that, but they're all going to want it tailored to that. If you keep sticking the same one in the same places, you probably aren't going to get as far. Is my opinion. I can't like fully, I'm not going to go back it with a bunch of research, but at least when I was in the class I was in, she's like, you would definitely have to tailor it. It's always going to be a basic outline, and then you're going to tailor it, and you're going to tailor your cover letter and stuff for whatever industry or whatever thing you're trying to do for. But is that your experience too, Peter? It really depends on what you're using it for.
Most definitely, and I think one of the keywords that you used was tailor. We all know that if you want to look really good, you go to you pick out a style, you go to a tailor, and they measure and they measure and they measure, and then they customize and tailor fit a suit that is going to fit you to perfection. That's what tailors do. And I think we need to think along the same lines when it comes to our business plan. And I think in the traditional sense, I want to start a business. Great, let's create a business plan. Not a very smart move. Do you need one? Oh, yeah, you might need a business plan outline, but that's not your business plan. If you're looking for funding, you want to start a business, you need funding for that business, you need a very basic outline or plan of what your business is supposed to be. But that's not your business plan. And I think to get into the nitty-gritty of tailoring a business plan, you need to go through the process. And even the Ignite students, entrepreneurial students, we haven't even touched business plan yet. Haven't even touched on it. That's level 2. We don't touch on business plan until level 2, because as entrepreneurs, we don't yet know who are we? What are we actually building? Why do we want to build this? How are we going to build this? Where are our customers? How do we talk to our customers? Where do we communicate? How do we communicate? We haven't even touched on business plan yet at all. Because we want to know the whens, the wheres, the whys, the whats, and all of those questions affect your business plan. So if you don't have the answers to those, don't go writing some generic business plan that kind of fits your space. Rather go backwards and find the answers to those questions, and then you can tailor your business plan to be best suited and the perfect fit for your space. But here's the thing. If I have a suit made for myself, and then over Christmas, I slightly overindulge, and I eat that turkey, and I devour that potato salad, and by the end of Christmas, I put on that suit, and I'm like, oh, wait a second. This is not so tailored anymore. I might need to go to the tailor again and just maybe let out or, you know, stretch it out a little bit and so that it'll look like it still fits. Because that's what happens with a business plan. It fits until it doesn't. And every single thing that you do will change your business plan. The trick is to understand your plan so well that as you are doing things, you have an understanding of what is changing so that you can modify your business plan. And I think having a really well documented business plan makes your space more valuable because you permanently know exactly what direction you're going in, more or less how you're going to get there, the route that you're taking. And if at the drop of a hat you decided, you know what, I want to sell my business, I've got a different opportunity, I'm going in a different direction, I need to sell this as an entity. When somebody is looking at that, they can look at your business plan and know that your business plan is so well tailored to your space. They know exactly what to do, how to do it, when to do it. They know exactly because they can read it in your business plan and they
Right.
can see the fit. But I think to entrepreneurs, let's not be generic. Don't go and just think that a business plan is something that you create that's generic, that you just create so that you can get funding to start a business. It's permanently tailored. It permanently changes. You have to understand how it changes. So I think that's very important.
Yeah, it's definitely very important. And when I was taking the class, she said even though the executive summary is usually at the top, it's the very last thing you write. You don't write the summary of your business until you know the components of your business. And I thought, well, that makes a whole heck of a lot of sense. And we had entrepreneurs that were newer, like they were just starting. We had entrepreneurs like me that had been in year 3, 4, or 5. And I thought it was a little bit easier that I've been in the industry to write one versus I felt bad for the people that were just starting. Their ideas were great, but they didn't know what was needed because they were just starting. Because I'm going to base off traditional just because that's what's out there. But you have company description, that's not too bad. Competitive advantage. Well, if you don't know what you're doing, how are you going to figure out what competitive advantage you have? Like what skill set do you have? Market analysis. Yeah, you can do the research out there, but if you've not been doing things, it's kind of hard. It's very generic research you're doing. Same thing with industry analysis. Now your organization and management, that's kind of you, but marketing, sales, and what do you need to run it? You got to be doing it. Like you'll be like, hey, give me $20,000 to run my business. Okay, what are you gonna do with it? I'm gonna hire a team. Okay, what type of team? What are they gonna do? What is the outcome? What is your forecasted da 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 da? I would not shoot, I wouldn't have done that until like 2 years ago because it's hard to do that. And even when I did start writing it last year, there was some that were super easy and super quick to write. And then thankfully we had talked about market research and kind of how to do some of that stuff. So I had that in my tool belt. And that was one of the reasons I wanted to make today's show an overview so that we can talk more about those individual things and how to do those things when you're just starting or when you're in the first year. Um, so that so we're not going to cover your whole business plan. You're not going to walk away from here and go, okay, I can write a business plan. That is not the goal today. The goal today is to talk about why and how to get started. And like we said, we don't, we're not saying you need to do it from the get-go. It's not like the first thing you do in your business. This is something you would do down the road. And again, you're going to review it. It's not something that you do it and forget it. And there's a reason we did goals and action plans first, because that kind of helps you set up, like, where do I want to go? What do I want to do this year? How do I want to do it? What's my mindset? What's my resources? Like you said before, there was a very big reason on why we built it or why I built it this way on topics, because again, the business plan isn't the first thing. It's like the third or fourth, or sometimes it's the year 2 or whatever works best for your business. But if you don't know your vision, your goals, how you're going to get there, the action plan, then it is really hard to I don't think I would have written it. I know I didn't write it. I didn't write it until year 3. So go ahead.
Yeah, I think let's be realistic and blatantly honest. Not many people are going to write their business plans until it's necessary.
True. Mine was because I was trying to get a grant. That was the first one, like the one 2 years ago
Ex-
was a grant.
Exactly.
Last year was because I was in a class. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Most entrepreneurs are just not going to write it. And if they are going to write it, it'll be for a specific purpose. They need a loan from the bank, and the bank wants to know what's your business plan. And then all of a sudden you panic and you're like, oh my goodness me, I need to know how to write a business plan. And you slap something together and you present it to the bank and you hold fingers for dear life going, please, I hope that was exactly what they required. But I think let's just take it backwards a little bit. What can a business plan do for you? And in my mind, if you are going backwards in the topics and you're going, okay, right, I need to understand where I'm at, what I have, what I need. You've overviewed your space, you understand your space enough to start writing a business plan. Then what do you get from the business plan once you've written it? And I think that's a really good question to ask yourself. And it would also change, maybe change the way that you would create the business plan. Because if maybe the intention behind writing a business plan shouldn't be one of I'm writing it because I need to. It could be I'm writing it because it gives me the opportunity to showcase that to people that are in similar industries and go, what do you think? Am I missing something? Am I missing an opportunity? This is my understanding of my space. This is my understanding of my business model. Your peers, the people that you network with, hey, can you take a moment to overview my business plan? Maybe your business coach. Hey, I've taken a shot at building out my own business plan. What do you think? And you would be surprised at how much information you will get from other people when they overview your business plan and they're like, did you perhaps think about this? And you're like, no, I've never thought about that. I should probably think about that. Or have you taken a look at this potential opportunity? Because maybe you're missing out on a revenue stream that you just didn't actually see. So I think for all intents and purposes, maybe the reasoning behind creating a business plan shouldn't be one out of, oh, I need to do it because I need to get funding, or I need to do it because I need to take it on as an exercise. Build it out with your understanding of your space, customize it to your space as much as you possibly can with your knowledge of your own space. And then have people that you got to be very careful, have people that you trust. You can't just, if you know somebody is just designed to break you down, you don't exactly want to show them your business plan.
Right.
You want to have people that you can trust. Maybe there's somebody within a network that you're in that is in a similar space and you know that they're on the top of their game. Pull in a quick favor. What do you think? Is this how you do it? Am I doing this the right way? Am I understanding this process correctly? You would be surprised how willing entrepreneurs are to help fellow entrepreneurs. We drive the economy. It's what we do. We drive the economy. We come up with a concept. We come up with a plan. We make it happen. We pull teams together. We build products. We hit the market. We step into educational spaces. We drive economy. We go into spaces where, where corporates would fear to tread. Us brave entrepreneurs, we step into those spaces and we go, oh, we're just smart enough to do it a different way. We want to do it this way. And you'd be surprised how many entrepreneurs really just want to see other entrepreneurs succeed. So find someone you trust. Me personally, if I was going to find out what exactly was in my space and what I needed to change and maybe do an audit of my space, I would be reverting right back to Sondra and be like, okay, well, this is what you do. I'm just going to throw everything at your feet. And then you just tell me what's going on in this space, because there's just so much happening. And sometimes you just need that person that you can go to and go, what do you think? What do you think? Or do you know somebody that I can talk to? Or and I think that's the problem with the mindset of entrepreneurs today. They all think that they're alone.
Yeah, I always tell
Yeah.
people, entrepreneurship alone is usually a recipe for disaster.
Oh, goodness me.
If it can be a financial disaster, it can be your mental health disaster, it can be your, I've known people to get divorced around, like, it can be a disaster. Don't do it alone. There's so many spaces out there that, um, yes, you can get help with and co-working and, everything from co-working to networking to a tribe to everything in between. Um, yeah, some are free, some are paid, some change and you have to, move on. Um, but yeah, it's not a alone thing. And that is one thing when I even my coffee chats, I'm always like, what do you need for your business? Like let's give you resources. And yeah, I don't know everything. That's definitely for sure. Like tech is not my thing. Like I'll do an audit and be like, okay, this is working and this isn't working. But as far as fixing it and setting it up and redoing it, I got a whole team of, well, I have a primary and I have backups if needed of people that can do those things.
Yeah.
Um, if it's, how to run a networking space, I can go to Peter, somebody that's, in a holistic Carmela, all those different things, radio, such a. So, um, co-working space, I help run one. So like there's so many things that you might not be aware of. I was doing something yesterday with somebody that I have been in business with for 3 years. And he goes, well, you did really great at that. And it was literally an interview. And I said, I do this every Monday. Like, seriously, he did not understand that I do this every Monday. And he's like, oh, I guess not. And I was just like, because it flowed really well. And I'm grateful because that's what I learned from the show. And I was just laughing because I'm like, we've known each other for 5 years. You've been my client for 3 years. And how the heck did you not know I have a YouTube show? But people don't. I mean, we all are so busy in our own lives and our own businesses and our own everything that sometimes it's hard to realize what the resources are around you or who's around you to help you. Um,
Yeah.
I did a coffee chat with somebody that we were in a micro interview together. That's how we met each other, like totally random. And then she's like, oh my gosh, like you have some things I need. And I was like, oh my gosh, you have some things I need. Totally random. We reached out and connected because that's the biggest thing. When
Yeah.
you're in meetings, whether it's interviews, classes, networking, connect with the people. That's entrepreneurship is about connection, 100%. And I'm like, I would have not done that if, it was we were in a group interview. Like who reaches out to each other in a group interview? Like that's not a common thing. But I automatically, as soon as we started a group interview, I'm on LinkedIn going, okay, connect, 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 because that's my process. As soon as I'm in a meeting of any sorts, I connect with them outside of the meeting so that if I need a communication with them afterwards, I can do that. And two of us actually been talking, about how we felt about the meeting, da da da. But one of us did a one-on-one and she's just like, hey, I think I might have some things that can help you. And I'm like, hey, I have some things that can help you. And it's called connection. And I know, Peter, you're really, really great at that connecting part. So I've learned from the best. But same thing with business plan. There are people out there that do it for a living. The class
Yes.
I took, she gets hired by corporate to write business. Like she has written them for 15 years, she said, from small businesses to corporate and everything in between. Has a book, yada, yada, yada. So we were being taught by the best, but I also had that connection of she literally, we had the whole month to talk to her a million times if we wanted to, and go back and forth. So I used that connection really, really, really well because I was like, okay, I've kind of written and not kind of written and da da da. Um, but yeah, in an entrepreneur space, and I still talk to her, even though I'm not in that space anymore, and a couple other people from it. So find the people that do the things that you don't do or that you don't do well and connect with them. And business writing, business plans are the same way. If there's somebody that that does market research and they excel at it, because that's usually in your business plan, then go get somebody that does market research. Go get that bookkeeper that knows how to do
Yeah.
forecasting. Um, go get the person that knows how to write the SOPs or the, that
Yeah.
helps you write your industry or your organization and management style. Like go to those people for that exact part of your business plan. I think that's another part. Like you can take the business plan and put it in pieces and be like, okay, I'm going to go talk to, this person that does this type of thing, and by the time you weave those people together, you can write a business plan simply, even if you're not great at writing, you know, um, you can weave the resources around you to help you write your business plan. So I think flip it, like use the resources you have to help you write your business plan versus you writing a business plan and giving it to the resources. You can flip that and say, I need this and this, and who's going to do these components? So go ahead, Peter.
Yeah, I think something that you mentioned that really struck a chord, Sandra, I think that we're actually quite privileged, extremely privileged. Um,
We are.
we
Yeah.
we have created a space full of people with multiple fields of expertise. If I'm looking for somebody that's in the process space, I've got someone. If I need somebody that's a VA or a project manager for a particular project, I have two or three. Um, if I need somebody that's in the design space, it depends on the project as to which designer I reach out to because we've built that space. So we have those resources. So talking about these things like as if they're just so easy. Oh, we just do this and we just do that. We're privileged because we have the ability to do that because we've spent enough time building the space and the resources to do it. But something I think we need to understand is that a lot of entrepreneurs out there haven't got those resources, or they haven't built those resources, or they haven't seen the power behind needing to be in those spaces where those resources are. And they're striving and driving and pushing and wearing multiple hats and doing everything on their own. And here we're sitting going, you need to go and draw up a business plan. And they're like,
When do I have time for that? And how do I
yeah,
have time for that? When I'm going to go learn for
yeah,
that?
yeah. So I think we're extremely privileged. Now, if
I agree.
we took an auditorium. That sounds really big. Slightly smaller than an auditorium, a little like a staged space. I think there must have been maybe 60 entrepreneurial students in the room, and all the students from one institution, all from the same institution. They're all entrepreneurial students, and we asked them if any of them know each other.
Yeah.
Zero. We asked them, who knows what somebody else is actually doing? Zero. Who knows what other person has what skills? No. So before we even take them on the journey of stepping to go, you need to write a business plan. Before even getting there, we needed to go on a different journey. We needed to go on the journey of let's get to know each other. Let's get to know who's doing what. Let's get to know who's developed what skills in order to do what. Let's get to know who's already established their business, who's starting out, who's more mature in business, and who's just a really infant in the entrepreneurial space. Because then we know who's more solid, who's more grounded, who's more because then we can start interlinking the different people to each other and create the support structure where they can realize like, oh, look, I need to create a business plan. I know that this person is a strategist, so I can talk to them. Or I know that this person is in the financial space, so maybe I can submit my business plan to them and they can take a look from a financial perspective. Or maybe this person is in the marketing space, and maybe my business plan doesn't even cover that in any which way, shape, or form.
Right.
So I think we're extremely privileged because for us, it's almost like second nature. Oh, I need to do this project. Oh, Somerville, I need to jump into a meeting with Kelsey, and Kelsey, we need you to do X, Y, and Z. It benefits your business like this, it benefits my business like that, and it benefits Somerville like this, and we're just going to do this. It's almost like second nature. And because of the space of people and the feel of how we do things, they're like, oh yes, let's just do this, and let's all. So for us, it's easy,
True.
but maybe for some of the viewers, it's not.
No,
Um,
that's very true. I had that happen last week, the week before. My client is like, go on Fiverr and I need blah blah blah. And I'm like, I went on Fiverr and I'm like, wait, I know people that do this. Why am, but I because the assignment was to go on Fiverr, I went on Fiverr, I picked two people, and then I went, hey, resource, do you want to put your hat in this ring? It can benefit you in X, Y, and Z. It's a one-time project, but it gets you into the door of
Correct.
this whole community, this whole industry. Um, and the person's like, yeah, um, time zones don't match at all. But I was like, well, it's on you if you want to don't do things at 2 in the morning, because I get that. You know,
Yeah.
it's your option if you want to put your hat in the ring. And the person put their hat in the ring and they got picked over the Fiverr people because my client was like, oh, you know them and that's your person? Like, sure, I'd rather pick somebody you know and you trust versus going on Fiverr and just getting random people to do random
Random stuff.
things.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely, I definitely know that that's a privilege. Anytime anybody asks me for something, usually I have at least one, if not two to three names that pop in my head, and um,
Well,
and for different reasons. So I
yeah.
do get that, and I think also depends on the circle. If you stay in the circle, okay, so if you have a VA, I don't know, let's say you have a photography business and you stay in if you only hang out with photographers, you're really going to struggle if you only hang out with photographers. You need to hang out with people that do websites and people that do SOPs and people that do funding and things like that. And, that was something one of the people asked me last week. I said, I have resources, including a virtual photographer. And they're like, what? I need that. And I was like, okay, I'll connect you on LinkedIn. Like, but I would have known that if you hadn't put a photographer in this space, if you hadn't put, website builders, if you hadn't put those people in this space, I would have never thought of virtual photography. Like I didn't hear that until we met Joanne. Um,
So cool.
yeah, but every time I say that, everybody's like, what? And I'm just like, yeah, it takes you like less than 30 minutes, maybe an hour total with consultation and stuff to get your pictures, da, da, da. And I have pictures, so I have proof that the concept works because I've kind of gotten burnt a couple of times of, not trying people before I recommend them. That's that became a rule year two. Um,
Yeah.
I don't if I recommend somebody that I've not tried, I will be honest. I'll be like, I have not tried them. I've seen their work or I haven't seen their work. Like I'm pretty open about that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, we are very privileged. I can honestly say that. Um, that is something, and most of my relationships are virtual. Even my clients, I've not met them in person.
Correct.
I'm actually going to meet them for the first time this weekend. I'm going to California this weekend, and I will actually meet both of my clients in person for the first time in 5 years.
Nice.
So, and then in the fall, willing, everything works out.
Fingers
Fingers
crossed.
crossed, I will get to meet Peter and Nistine. So you can build it virtually. Why I'm saying that is you can build it virtually. You do not have to be in Africa. You do not have to be in London with a photographer. You don't have to be in all these places. That's the wonderful thing about the virtual world, as you
Yeah.
can meet with anybody all over the world and build that network and or step into the spaces the networks are built. Because everybody's like, how in the world did you get into a tribe in Africa? And I'm like, still to this day, obviously you messaged me on LinkedIn and that's how it started, but I still don't remember the initial interview. Um, love the concept from the get, coffee first, business later, date the tribe. All those things were definitely, I'm like, okay, that's very different. Um, relationship based, which is my calling is relationship based. But find those spaces, find those spaces. You don't want the space to be exactly what you're doing. You
No.
need to find the spaces that have different things doing different
Correct.
people, because that's how you build those resources. Because everybody's like, well, how do you get all these resources? I'm like, well, you must go to a million networking events. Actually, I am not the fondest of networking events, I'll be honest. So I don't go to a million networking events. I do good if I go to one or two a month. Gotta get better at that. I for sure. But I've been in communities that are so well built, and some have left, but I'm still in contact with people that I don't have to go to 15,000 different networking events a month.
No.
It's just it's not my strategy, first off. Two, I don't got time for that. So definitely, and how we tie this back into business planning is that if we were talking about how different people that can help you write the business plan. So also, you can also learn about different types of business plan. E-commerce, I worked with an e-commerce client for the first time last year. That is a different beast. Like it's just a whole different world,
Yeah.
literally a different world that I probably will not step back into, but live and learn. Um, at least not the way it was run. But I also knew that I did have resources of people that did e-commerce, even though I didn't, that was not my space. So if the person had asked me to write a business plan, I would have had to go to the tribe or my network and be like, hey, I don't know a first thing about e-commerce. Help me, help them. And there was a couple
Yeah.
times I went to a lot of people and went, help me, help them. Um, One person got hired, but I'm like, I don't have a dang clue. I don't have a dang clue how to run an Amazon store and
Yeah.
those things. But go ahead. Yeah, we're getting close sometime. So funny how I was worried about two of us getting enough information out there, and we both knew that we could.
True, true, true. And I think something that we should mention, and I mean, because we are privileged to be in the space that we're in, and I'm not talking financially. This is not a oh, look at us, we're so great. I mean, this has just naturally happened over a period of time where we've built a whole bunch of relationships in a particular space, and it's just grown. So we're just really blessed. Um, but if you're out there and you're not connected to the right people. And this is not a call to come and join our network. You don't have to join the network. If you're not a networking person, then don't let it bother you. If you are a relationship person, then this might be a space for you. But if you're out there and you're on your own and you are in the position where you're like, a business plan, I need to write a business plan, and I actually don't know. We can't sit here and tell you, well, this is exactly what you need to write and this is how you need to write it because A, we don't know you. We don't know your business. We don't know what space it's in. We don't know. And in order for us to cover what you do need to write, we would need to sit here for what about 2, 3 months discussing
Yeah, definitely. If we
the
did,
different
if we did
kinds
it by industry and
by
um,
industry. And, so, I mean, the invitation is there. Our links will be in the description. Um, Go ahead and have a conversation. I mean, having a coffee is free, right? You can just book in the
yeah.
calendar and you can go, hey, my name's this and this is the business that I run and I want to write a business plan. Maybe depending on who you are and what it is that you do, we can connect you with some people that you can have conversations with or that you can bounce some ideas off. That's what networking is all about. It's about building those relationships. So if you want to try and do it on your own, then give it a shot and then go backwards in the shows and see some of the topics before this topic and start answering those questions because answering those questions will leave you with a solid foundation to build out a business plan. So I think that's
Right.
the only thing we can actually suggest to people that are going to want to do it on their own. Answer the questions first. If you can't answer those questions, well, then you'll see in those shows there are relevant people in those shows that
Mhm.
cover those topics. So you might want to reach out to them and answer those questions. So
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah,
And we're bringing other people in that not necessarily are like we're not only using the tribe people like
no,
the
no,
emotional intelligence, the LOP stuff. That was one of my coaches from 3 years ago. Like um I'm using my resources outside of the tribe even to bring people in to be able to be the experts in these fields.
yeah,
And they're what part of being on the show is that they will be willing to do coffee chats, and I know all of them well. Um, Also, shameless plug, my quarterly compass, there's people from all different industries in my workshops. There's an easy way to pay
perfect.
the minimal fee, get all the resources from me, but also meet other people in other industries. I've had book editors, I've had people that crochet and do live events and and everything in
Yeah,
between, business coach, GHL experts, like all the different things. Um, so even if you're alone, even investing in a one-time workshop fee, you get workbooks and you get physical resources and you get to meet other people. I think it's
Love it.
also a different way of going about doing it. You're like, I don't want to watch
Yeah.
5,000 shows. I want to do a one-time thing. Okay, fine. Come do a one-time thing. I don't break down a business plan like extremely, but there is some resources in there that do talk about business plan in my review because it's more of from a review standpoint than a writing a business plan. But yeah, do something like that where you take a workshop that has the components that you need, you know.
Sure. Yeah.
That is simple. The next one is in March. I'm doing 2 of them in the same day to cover both sides of the world. So March 20th. So yeah, join me there. And you know that because I've had some people, you know, coffee chats are hard, time zones, blah, 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 blah. Okay, then come to my workshop. I'm going to talk to you during the workshop. I definitely will be talking. If you're new to the space, then I would definitely talk to you, of course, afterwards. But that's another way of getting resources. Because if you're like, oh, I'm struggling with this, I'm like, okay, well, let's have a private chat about, I don't know, Kelsey or Susan or Somerville or Gareth or anybody in my circles, even outside the tribe, of course, that would help you with that is something I'm more than willing. I get in trouble sometimes for giving resources away for free. Let's make sure Nistine's not back there yelling at me. But I love helping people, so that is one way I can help. But we are coming to the close of the show. Like I said, this is an introduction. We are going to do some more specific parts of the plan. We will not cover every single part of the plan, but we want to make sure the most common components of a plan, you have some resources and a little bit of more of knowledge about that. So I broke it down in a couple of pieces that I think are usually in a business plan, no matter what industry. So I tried to stick to those. So definitely join us in the next couple of weeks because we will be breaking that down and talking and bringing people on. It won't just be me and Peter. We'll have other people to do
Although
that.
this has been really good though.
Oh yeah, I have no problem with one-on-one interviews. So yeah, my name's Sondra, and I am Get It Done Coaching, and I do help people reach their goals by creating bite-sized pieces, not planets, pieces. And my next quarterly review called the Quarterly Compass is March 20th, and the links are always in a description because Miss Susan is an amazing. She's got her shows scheduled, I think through March, and she does her show notes. She also turns this into a podcast. So please don't only just share the YouTube, share the podcast. Yeah, I will let you. Oh yeah, and then of course Somerville. I don't know how I don't forget her. It's just I get to going. Miss Somerville helps us with all the amazing things in the background, from keeping Peter organized to making sure everybody has what they need and everything in between. Get yourself a Somerville, you just can't have ours. So, uh, so yeah, let us know. Our LinkedIn links will be in the chat. You can chat with me and Peter. We're both very open to that. We love getting to know different people in different industries all over the world. Again, we are global. So I am sitting in Michigan, United States, and Peter is sitting in Cape Town, Africa. So doesn't mean you don't need to be in our side of the world to talk to us for sure. Peter, why don't you go ahead and take us out?
Awesome. Just to recap slightly on the space. This space is designed for entrepreneurs that are starting out or have been in business for a while and want to connect. We're basically here to find topics that people are battling with and cover those topics so we can create solutions, create connections, link people with the right people is kind of the point of this space. To show people off, to help others is the point of this space. And I think we're doing a relatively good job of that. Well, sorry, Sondra. I think Sondra is doing a very good job of that.
Peter helps. Peter helps. At the very least, he keeps me accountable. At the very least.
So that being said, I think that draws us to the end of our show, and I will end this off with the not famous words from Nistine Berta, which is